Do you ever feel you're slogging through your morning? I do. In fact, that is me today, in this moment, as I jot down ideas for this episode. I planned this morning last night. I knew I had a late meeting on my podcast writing day, so I set my alarm early. I also set the timer on my coffee maker, knowing I would have to get out of bed before it got cold. And let's face it, reheated coffee is no fun. My alarm went off during a whimsical dream where we had moved into a house that had a view of an old European street out one window and a forest with a stream out the other. It was beautiful. And then my alarm crept in and yanked me away. Warm and cozy in my bed, missing my dream, and still feeling tired, I dragged myself up to get my hot cup of coffee. And then I sat at my computer, completely unmotivated. But I got it done, and I'll tell you how. Find the full transcript and more resources for physician moms at inspiredmommds.com/25. You're listening to Inspired Mom MDs with host Cindy Van Prague, helping physician moms take back control and prioritize what matters most so they thrive in private practice and at home. Hi, and thank you for joining me today. Okay, so I sat at my computer, still completely unmotivated, and then inspiration hit. A quote from Will Rogers got me rolling. It says, "Even if you're on the right track, you will get run over if you just sit there." Well, this hit home. I just need to get moving, even one little step, one word after another. Progress over perfection. Treading water won't get you back on the dock, if that's your goal. Just a little progress is all you need. That's what I told myself. So, how do you make progress when you feel like your feet are stuck in the mud? Here are some ideas that I will fully explain. Step 1. Identify what motivates you and compile a list. Step 2. Now try one out when complete lack of motivation hits you. It sounds simple, right? No, I'm only joking a little. Saying something and implementing your plan can take practice. But once you give it a go a few times, it does get easier. So step 1 was list what works for you. Have a few shortcuts that really work to give you a boost of energy or brighten your expression and, well, motivate you. My shortcuts are very simple and easy for me to remember when I'm dragging. First, music is a huge part of my life and, not surprisingly, a good motivator. I play different types depending on the situation, so a few long tracks from Insight Timer seem to spark my creativity and hone my focus. Other tunes are perfect for boosting physical energy to get chores done, and still other tunes are perfect for working on projects. When I want to get any of these things done, I can pop in my earbuds and pick the tracks that work. A second shortcut for me to get out of a slump is to reach out to a friend, like just a quick "hi" or "I've been thinking about you." Interacting with someone else breaks me out of my mental cycle of wondering why I just can't get going. I believe music functions in a similar way. It breaks that unproductive thought loop in my mind. There are many other ideas I have. Sometimes I just change scenery. Just now, I took a moment to watch fat raindrops hitting the leaves on my plants outside. And I'm always amazed at how resilient flowers are not to lose all their petals in the rain. Anyway, I'm so grateful it's raining. Sometimes I just need to lower my expectations and break my work into smaller steps. It's easier to tackle a small hill than the whole mountain, right? Now, think of something that helps you break this cycle. What is one thing that seems to work for you? Make a mental list or write it down somewhere, maybe on sticky notes, but keep those little shortcuts that work for you handy. Next time you are stuck, step 2 is to revisit those ideas that you just pinned as helpful. You pick one, just one, and give it a try. It may work, it may not, and that's okay. If your shortcut doesn't help, you can certainly try another. This is what I did today when my music wasn't transporting me to the magical creative place that I yearn for when writing. So I texted a friend, and that worked. But what if it didn't? What if I was still stuck staring at my blinking cursor on an empty page? What if your shortcuts don't work in the moment either? Ah, this is the time to treat myself and yourself with compassion and grace. So, what does that look like? Practice self compassion by treating yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a friend going through a tough time. So, I think to myself, okay, imagine telling my good friend what my inner critic just said. I wouldn't do that. Self compassion is a skill that I need to keep practicing. Or you can practice self care by prioritizing activities that really nourish your mind and your body and your soul. So, this could include exercise or eating healthy or hobbies, or for me, it's all of these things and so much more. Also, give yourself permission to rest when you feel exhausted. It is okay to take a break and rest. It took many years for me to break the belief that I must keep going. I chose this life or career and or motherhood, and I must pay my dues. Paying my dues cost me my health. It wasn't worth it. So I changed my habits and I just got more sleep. You can also practice mindfulness by acknowledging your feelings in the moment without judgment. It's hard not to judge when it's second nature, right? A way to set aside judgment is to look at your feelings with curiosity. So, why am I reacting this way and with so much intensity? Is there something I could change to help this reaction? Now, being curious switches you out of the role of reacting and experiencing to one of a helper or advisor. Mindfulness naturally follows as you are focused on the moment. And this doesn't need to take long. Give yourself a few seconds or minutes. So, who says that we need to perform at 110% every single day? Well, my inner voice, that's who. And I'm happy to make some snarky comments back to my inner voice. And a gentle reminder for me is that my inner critic is not my true authentic self. Now think, who gets to define progress in your day? Where do you set that bar? Not 110%, I hope. Sometimes progress is not a measurable result that others even see. You don't need to prove your success with evidence that you did work. Like today, it sure would have been nice to show my progress to my husband by saying, oh, look, I'm all set to record my episode. But it's not a failure if I didn't. Sometimes progress is in your mind and in your heart. If your mind is foggy or your heart is sad, this holds you back. There are changes that need to happen in there too, right? What if my progress today was simply that I gave myself compassion and grace, which felt good, and decreased my stress? Oh my gosh, that's progress. It's not any less valuable than saying, I booked a massage session for self-care today and now I feel less stressed. Or I did a breathing exercise to de-stress. Well, they all have the same outcomes. So whether progress is tangible or a change in mindset, I win and you will too. Not every day is a rock star day, and that is normal. But you can use a couple tricks to try to stimulate motivation. Just remember, progress over perfection is key. Don't forget to join me next week for another dose of support and inspiration. And until then, take care of yourselves and take care of those who matter most. It's time to take control and thrive. Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Mom MDs. Please share with other physician moms and leave a review if you found value from this podcast.